Greetings, class. I'm here to go over the two essays we read for this week, Neat People versus Sloppy People, and the transaction. A couple of major points to point out about Neat People versus Sloppy People as a structure. I really like the hook. I finally figured out the difference between neat people and sloppy people. Remember this, it's not a question, it's not a stat, but it's catchy because you want to find out what is the difference. And it also has an interesting thesis that says neat people are lazier and meaner than sloppy people. I like that because it's pretty clear, and the essay does seek to do that. Now, this essay has a lot of emotion. It's a very emotional essay. It doesn't have logic. It has a lot of examples to prove the point. And humor typically does this. It takes an idea and it bends it slightly. It bends it in a direction you wouldn't think of. For example, it basically says that sloppy people are sentimental. They're nice people. They're kind people. They hold on to things because they care. So they're hoarders and things of that nature. And I think she does a really good job showing that. And it's very, very funny with what she does. One of my favorite parts about this essay, we were talking about transitions before. It's in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I really like the last sentence of paragraph 5 where it says a neat person would just bulldoze a desk. I like that because that's a smooth transition, and what that does is it goes from sloppy people to neat people. And I think it's interesting because she doesn't use furthermore or in addition or however. It's just very clear, and then it just switches into neat people. So I like how she does that. I think that's a very clever transition. And then she gets into neat people and she says neat people are mean, they're evil people. One part that I really like that she does is, and this applies to humor, I just like to point these little things out whenever I get a chance to. She has very clear topic sentences. If you want to get her idea, she's very clear from the very first sentence. Like she has on page 2, she has a sentence that says, neat people are no good to borrow from. And when you think that neat people are no good to borrow from, you typically think that you can't borrow it from them because they're not going to give it to you. They don't want you to get it dirty. They're worried you're going to break the lawnmower or something like that. So they're not going to let you borrow it. However, what she does is something different, and I really like this. She says you can't borrow anything from neat person because they don't have anything to borrow. They've already used it. If you go to their house to borrow sugar, they've already used their 2 packets for the day. And I like that because humor often does this. It takes something in a different direction. She does that really good. It's a very, very funny essay. And let me say this. The reason why I had you guys read this essay is last week we talked about, or this week we talked about different types of essays. We talked about subject by subject, point by point. This is an example of a subject by subject essay. It's all sloppy people, and then it's all neat people. And I think she does a really good job of that, organizing it, but it's just an example of that. The second essay that we read is called The Transaction. And I like this because it's about writing. This is a writing class. I don't know why there's typos on it. Or the original didn't have it. I can't explain that. However, I like this essay because it's like bring your dad to work day. And they bring their dad, and we have a doctor and we have a writer. And they both say they like writing. And it's almost like a showdown, like a fist fight. I like that. I like the second paragraph where it says Dr. Brock was dressed in a red jacket looking vaguely bohemian. As authors, we are supposed to look, and the first question went to him, what was it like to be a writer? It's very interesting that they describe the doctor, but they don't describe the writer. I found that interesting. Personally, I'd like to see some details there, but they avoided that. But I think the core of it would be this. I like the paragraph where it says, the doctor said it was tremendous fun. That should be fun. Coming home from an arduous day at the hospital, he would go straight to his yellow pad and write his tensions away. The words just flowed. It was easy. I then said that writing wasn't easy and wasn't fun. It was hard and lonely, and the words seldom just flowed. And I like these ideas because it's a writing class. And one person saying it's fun and the other one saying it's a lot of work. I think that's interesting. I love to ask students, how do you feel about writing? Because some of you guys are like, I have a great time. I love writing. And others of you will say it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And so it's interesting to see that dichotomy between these two people. And then it says, next, Dr. Brock was asked if it was important to rewrite. He said, absolutely not. Let it all hang out, he told us, and whatever form the sentences take will reflect the writer at his most natural. I then said that rewriting is the essence of writing. I pointed out that professional writers rewrite their sentences over and over and then rewrite what they had rewritten. And I like this because in one of the modules for the writing process, I talked about revision, rewriting, and on day 1 I said draft. And this one's basically saying the same thing. One is saying, I don't rewrite. And there are professional writers who are known for being fast writers, like Robert Louis Stevenson. They said he wrote Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in like 72 hours. He just banged it out super quick. Jack Kerouac, they said he wrote On the Road, high on speed, just writing, cranking away at a typewriter. And then you have other writers who take forever, like the one who wrote, she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. That's the only book she ever wrote. She spent forever on that book. Well, she wrote a book, she published a book posthumous, but some people spend their whole lives rewriting a book, or they only publish one book they work so hard on, they're like, I'm never going to write a book again. But I do think it's so interesting to see the different perspectives on writing. And I like this. It says, what do you do on days when it isn't going well? Dr. Brock was asked. He said he just stopped writing and put the work aside for a day when it would go better. I then said the professional writer must establish a daily schedule and stick to it. I said that writing is a craft, not an art, and the man who runs away from his craft because he lacks inspiration is fooling himself. He is also going broke. I like these perspectives. I think they're great. One's like, I just put it away. And the other one says you have to write. And I like these perspectives. I always like to see what you guys have to say about this too. Let's see, what else? So, if we're getting to the core of this essay, what I want you guys to take away from this is point by point, right? So it has a doctor, it has a writer, all smashed into each separate paragraph. And this is what we're doing with our essay. We'll need meatier paragraphs, but that's what it's doing. So the other essay was a subject by subject. This one's point by point. That's a takeaway. And one other thing I have to say about this essay, if I was in this classroom, I would expect these two people to fight. They are not getting along with anything. They don't agree on anything. It would be so funny to see this in a classroom with children. And I really like the writer's perspective, where he comes out of this and he says, there is no wrong way to do this. There's a lot of different ways. And I like how open-minded he is, because other people walk away and say, this doctor is dumb. Like, I hate what he's saying. I disagree with everything he says, but the writer does have a point. You have to do what works for you, which we've talked about in the past. So the key takeaway here is I wanted to show you guys two different types of essays, a subject by subject comparison contrast, point by point. So here they are. They're here for you guys to look at. I hope you guys enjoy listening. Thank you.